Prosecution's most damning witness yet, taking the stand in Hunter Biden's gun trial as his father, President Biden, pumps the brakes on a pardon. The president saying in an interview with ABC, released in about an hour, that he would accept the outcome of his son's trial and he would not pardon his son. Really? That comes as Hunter's sister-in-law turned ex-lover, Hallie Biden, took the stand today, revealing the first son introduced her to crack during their relationship. She detailed what she discovered, the gun when she discovered the gun inside Hunter's car and then threw it away in a trash can outside a grocery store. 2 days later, Hunter's defense was trying to blame Hallie for the drug residue on the bag that the gun was found in. Classy. Today, Hallie testified that the brown bag she stuffed the gun in was sometimes used to store drugs by Hunter. So what was accomplished with all this, Katie? What are we finding out?
We're finding out that a lot of these people are a mess, and that Hallie Biden testified that Hunter Biden introduced her to crack cocaine. That's really awful, that she wanted to remove drugs from the car because their daughters would take the car. He had drugs around them. I think that his attorneys will probably say, well, see, she's the one who put the gun inside the bag with the drugs on it, so you can't say that that was Hunter doing that, so it's not connected. But I think they're really happy this is not a televised trial because the details are really shocking and they're flashing everything that was on the laptop onto the screens in the courtroom. Some of it blurred out for the jury. So it's really, the details are just horrific, and just the bottom line of Hunter Biden dating his brother's widow in the aftermath of all this and then introducing her to drugs is a pretty gross detail if you're just a normal person watching this play
And if
out.
I'm following this correct, sometimes I get confused. I think she got married a couple of days ago, and her husband, okay.
And he showed up with her at the courtroom today.
So, and then you wonder what happened a few days before the trial started when President Biden went to visit her suddenly when he had to, just thought it would be important. But I think there's a couple of things that goes on here. With the 24-year-old that he was dating came out and said, I was amazed and I was confused that he would do crack and he would be totally fine, would show no signs that he did it. So to me, there might be indications that he might have been doing some of these high-wire deals on crack.
Might have been. Absolutely he was. And I think one of the witnesses today, Haley, said that sometimes he would have crack rocks the size of a marble. Other times he'd show up crack rocks the size of ping pong balls. So he had crack all the time. He was texting her, I believe, in mid-October, which was when he purchased the gun. Right now, I'm passed out, smoking crack. And then the other text, yeah, I'm doing a drug deal with my man Mookie. So they have him dead to rights on that. And then they also have surveillance video of her picking up the gun, putting it in the dumpster. And apparently this vagrant named Ed, who likes to dumpster dive, comes over, picks it up, hands it over to the police. Hunter freaks out because it's registered to him, and then makes Haley go report it as stolen. And I mean, you just look at this mess and you have to think these people are trash, and the president has a family that's dysfunctional, and he's put his son through a mess because his son had to make money for the family. And the defense is having a very hard time right now because they don't have a defense because it's so ironclad. And the prosecution's been very effective in marrying the gun to the drug abuse. They're saying that he needed to get the gun for personal protection because he was doing all of these shady deals in these horrible neighborhoods with the dregs of society. So I don't see how this is anything other than a guilty, but you never know if he gets home cooking in Delaware.
I always hear that Abbe Lowell's this great lawyer, so I want to see what he would cross. And Abbe Lowell crossed with the gun owner who said, I watched him check the box that he's not doing drugs. By the way, who buys a gun and goes, yeah, I'm on drugs, is that a problem? And you, so why even have a yes there? So having done that, he goes, well, you're just trying to up the sale. He goes, no, I get paid the same no matter if I upgrade the sale or not. So what are we learning from this, Harold? It does look like he's dead to rights, and this should have been something that never went to trial. But you're the lawyer.
No, I don't know. He's facing 2 felony counts, and he's letting the judicial system work its way, work its will. We're witnessing.
What do you think so far, though?
I don't know. I've never done drugs before. I don't know what it's like to be addicted to that. I don't own a gun, so I don't.
Don't tell people that, Harold.
I never lied on a
Make
gun
them think you're strapped.
I never lied on a gun application. So it is on a level bewildering to me to watch it because it has to be humiliating and painful because the family's known this about Hunter And he's clearly, obviously, turned a new chapter in his life. But to hear all of these things, it's got to be painful. I told you, I listened earlier, I can't remember what show it was on, but Andy McCarthy was on earlier, and he was saying how this case, if he's convicted here and on appeal, how this likely could be overturned because of you will basically pit the law about whether or not you can own a gun if you have some alcohol or substance challenges against the Second Amendment and how absolute the Second Amendment is. So we shall see, but I don't know. That won't play here. He could likely be convicted and then appeal it. But it was an interesting legal theory to hear Andy proffer that earlier. Did you hear that too?
Right. But
Did you hear Andy say this earlier?
The reformed Hunter Biden still wrote the book, and he still did a press tour when he was, of course, asked the question, is this laptop yours? I don't know. I don't remember. Well, he lied. Clearly he lied. He knows it was his. And then Joe Biden during the debate, he lied. And that leads to the question of, I always hear this, why did they wait so long to bring this forward? Well, when you tell a bunch of Republicans that the laptop's not real, you can give them power in the House. Of course, they're going to pursue whether the laptop's real, which leads to the gun charge all these years later.
Look, let me make this clear. I did this for 32 years, okay? This case is as clear as any case. And unless the Supreme Court comes down and says crack dealers and drug addicts are allowed to have guns too, this case will be affirmed on appeal. What you've got here is a dysfunctional family. You've got a dysfunctional family where the widow of the brother of the defendant was introduced to crack cocaine. They're uploading pornographic videos into some website, and she's throwing his gun away, and then he's having her lie and she then reports the gun was stolen. In addition to that, you have Kathleen Buell, his wife, who has to check the car, his truck, to make sure there's no crack pipes and drugs in the car because her daughter drives the truck. And then what you've got is this Zoe Karsten that you were referring to says every 20 minutes the guy's doing crack. Every 20 minutes.
She found him charming.
And then she found him
charming.
Yeah, I'm sure he was a charmer. But this is more than letting the judicial system work. This was trying to pull the wool over the eyes of everybody. And when they got Judge Noriega, she said, hey, wait a minute. What do you mean this guy's going to be immune from prosecution for the rest of his life? I've never heard anything like that. Justice Department, have you ever done anything like this before? And they say, no, we haven't. So it's because they tried to pull a fast one on the American people, not just with this crime itself, but they tried to pull a fast one with the laptop. And this is karma coming back at them because they tried to change the results and may, according to statistics, have changed the results of an election when Anthony Blinken got 51 intel agents, so-called,
and
together,
Mike Morrell.
and Mike Morrell and the whole lot of them to say this has all the indicia of Russian disinformation. All they had to do was get that laptop and say, John Jones, you had an email from Hunter Biden. Do you have an email from Hunter Biden? Yes or no? And that's why the New York Post went with it and did publish it because they knew that they were clear of any defamation claim. So this is karma coming back at the Bidens.
How about Leon Panetta going, hey, Joe, before I sign off on this, just tell me, my reputation of 50 years, is this your laptop? Is this these your emails? Because it looks pretty specific. Not one person picked up the phone. They just signed off on it.
They just lied about it.
And by the way, there's a difference between crack addict when you're in the back alley. This guy was leading a hedonistic life, hanging out in the Ritz Hotel for 4 or 5 days, just doing crack with a 24-year-old.
He was $50,000
he was not suffering.
No, he was not suffering at all.
In fairness, he was an addict.
And he's not being charged with being an addict. He's charged with making the choice to lie to get a gun that he was not entitled to get. And the Department of Justice in 2022 pushed for an increase in the penalties from 10 to 15 years for people who lie to get a gun. So let's not make like this isn't something that they're just prosecuting because it's him. They're not.
Okay. I'm very proud of that block. I don't take credit for it, but I'm glad to have played a role in it.
You played a great role.
Thank you very much.
Brian.
You got. I'm going to stay the rest of the show.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.